There we go. All right. So if you already said it was okay, then you're probably still good with that. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm not sure which classes I gave instruction on, kind of what I'm doing right here. It's just a hello. We just make a fist that looks like an S in American Sign Language, like this, and take this flat part and put it in our hand. And this is my right hand, by the way, fist in the right hand, left hand, just one place I'm not mirroring you. And then in the back, oh, it's very bright here, hang on. Let's try this, there, that's a little easier. Then we're gonna cover that hole with our thumb. It's just a way of saying hello. If you wanna say hello this way or some other way, that's okay, but that's what I'm doing. I'm saying hello or goodbye and showing my respect for you. So that's what we're doing. I believe we covered that here, but I'm not sure I covered it in both classes. So we're just gonna go over it this week again. So speaking of what we've been doing, anybody remember what we did last time? I was talking to Carol about that, and I was saying a lot of us are taking a lot of classes right now, and a whole lot happened today. So there may well be, it may have just gone out of your head. And we've started this new module, and last week we went over how to do a bow step. And we discovered, remember we were talking about the bow this way and we were inventing it, but we also discovered that there was, and I was wearing pants that showed this better, but we discovered there's this lovely arch when you're in a bow step. And as we all know, arches are a way of stabilizing some really big roof or structure or dome, or your body when you're doing things with it, or when you're on rocky ground. It's a way, an arch is a way of stabilizing on just a couple of nice, flat, strong points. So there's this beautiful arch there, this bow. And we also talked about bows in our upper body. You'll recall that. And the bow went, it was like a circle that went in here, went all the way across here, and another circle that went across the back. And we spent some time playing with that circle. And we also compared the fact that that circle could get larger or smaller by opening our joints here. And our, just like our hip joints here could open this way. And we needed that opening. We needed that opening when we were gonna do things like get ourselves into an arch. We needed to be able to open this, because if we didn't, we were not gonna be bumping our knees out in the right way and our knees out over our toes. So that's what we did last time. Today, we also learned how the bow step was really well, I mean, exactly how to do the bow step, and we practiced it a lot. We're gonna do more with the bow step today, and we're actually gonna be moving. Today, we're gonna look at really connecting and coordinating different parts of our body. Isolating them so they can move separately and then connecting them as well. So that's our agenda for today. All right, so let's get started with, I wanna start with getting ourselves into this prepare position. You should kind of have this pretty familiar by now, so I can see you guys going into it. Fabulous. So our feet are about shoulder width apart. As comfortable, we have them generally pointing straight forward. I want you to really feel the bottoms of your feet, the whole bottoms of your feet. Can you feel that they're really in contact with the ground? Can you feel them getting heavy? You want to make sure those knees are softened a little bit. And you could just soften those knees. Again, that'll help you feel heavier. And at the same time, I want you to remember we were going to hook ourselves up from the very top of the head. I was reminded this morning by Sharon, this is the first essential. We're going to suspend the head and elevate the spirit. So I love to think about a cloud up there, maybe even sort of a magnetic cloud, but it just pulls me up. The sun's right above it, and maybe the sun's peeking through. And I'm attracted to it. The very top of my head feels warmed by it and held by it. And then much like a puppet, those shoulders just drop. My body is suspended. My arms let themselves get sort of heavy enough to drop. And then I forget about them because my whole upper body is feeling held so it can completely relax. And then if it's me, I usually realize that maybe my knees aren't as relaxed as I thought. And so I just soften them a little. And as I do, I usually notice sort of that glute, butt, lower back area. And I want you to play with that for a minute and sort of, if you could imagine, this is going to sound very funny, but if you could imagine your tailbone literally from the top of your head going straight down to the bottom. And you can actually imagine having a tail that came out the bottom. And I want you to imagine sort of sweeping back and forth. So you could sweep, just do some minor sweeping, but you can get yourself in prepare. And then, you could just kind of sweep back and forth. See, I'm not moving much, but see if you can find that place where you're not tipping your pelvis forward, not tipping it forward, but not letting it come out either. It's just the place where you're going straight down. This will be easier to do if you imagine how you feel when you're reaching with your bottom for a chair. Because when you're doing that, you're going down. So go down just a little bit, like you're reaching, and then come up. And now that we're in prepare, I want you to feel that stretch from the center of your back across your shoulders, turning your upper arms filling up with helium and floating up. Remember, they're cantilevered at the back, so there's no effort here. And then droop those elbows and push down like you're pushing a ball, a beach ball, into water. When you can't push anymore, bring your hands back. This is opening. Center yourselves again and prepare. Go through your checklist. Knees, lower back, spine, connected, suspended, hanging. And across our backs, there's a little stretch. And it invades our arms, but it turns out to be helium. Our shoulders kind of go down, but our arms come up. And as we're pushing down now, we're going to bend our knees. And then we're going to come up. And down. That stretch is still gently there across our back and into our arms. How about the top of your leg straightening is the same moment as the top of your arms coming to your shoulders. And the bottom. It's not as easy as you think. Now I want you to just think of waves and breathing. So this time we're going to breathe in. Now, in, out. In, out. You might find it easier to do when you're coordinating your breathing. Interesting. I want to do the same thing, but now I want us to open those shoulders, but those shoulder joints, but still keep the shoulders down. You could even come up higher if that works for you. Try to keep the back of the shoulder blades calm. We are coordinating our upper body movements with our lower body movements, ending at the same time in each direction. Sometimes it's easier to see the beginning and the ending. I want you to feel, as you come up this time, a little stretch in your spine. This is the first principle. Sharon's been working on the first principle. We'll just bring that in there. Suspend the head, elevate the spirit. Kelly talks about your Tai Chi pole. You're going up and down around your Tai Chi pole. And now we're going to come up this way one more time. And down and not bend our knees. All right, how was that? That was good? Good, good, fabulous. All right, anything you noticed, anything you became aware of that you were not aware of before? I guess that's a no. All right. Sounds good. Actually, let me get the whole gallery up here. There we go. Hi, Holly. Hi, Molly. Hi, Veronica. Maria, did you have something to say? I'm sorry, I didn't have the whole gallery up.
I became conscious of my breathing.
Yeah. Is it true for anybody else that it was easier to coordinate when you breathed the two, or was it harder? I'm getting a couple thumbs up.
Yes, easier.
I'm not sure. Okay, from some people, yeah. So for some people, it's easier because somehow your breathing spontaneously wants to integrate with it. And for some people, it's just one more thing to think about. Please, please, no, that's too much, right? So, so take it if it works for you. But it's often true that if you didn't think about anything else and you thought about your breathing, other things would coordinate. I just want to put that out in your mind. Maria.
Can you say a word or two about breathing? I mean, do you mean the full yoga breath or just normal?
Mostly right now, I want you folks to feel like you're breathing naturally. So that's the most important thing, is just to breathe naturally. Ideally, you're not breathing way up here because that's usually where you breathe when you're tight and not relaxed. If you can kind of breathe like you'd breathe when you're asleep, that would be like perfect.
Okay.
So however you breathe when you're asleep. So you might even notice when you're waking up sometime where your tongue is when you're asleep. You know, like you wake up, and if you wake up but you're falling back asleep, you figure out where your tongue is. That'd be a great place for your tongue to hang out. You can figure all of that out just by doing what comes naturally. Chances are that's breathing very gently from your abdomen, but do what comes naturally. I don't want you to overly get concerned about breathing, but I find that it helps me. But that may be because I've done a lot of Tai Chi, and some people who've done yoga or something might find that true. Okay. Anything else that came to you? Was it harder to coordinate the up and down than you thought it would be? Or was that a pretty simple thing? Pretty simple? Okay, good. Wonderful. Terrific. All right. I want to go back to the bow step now that we did last time, but I want to do some exercises again to do it and just kind of give you another way to make it natural for you. And then we're going to move with it. Okay. So we're going to be moving forward with this bow step. This is not a full, for those of you who've had a lot of Tai Chi, you may have learned some other ways of which we call Tai Chi walking, which this is not the full Tai Chi walking yet, but I want to talk about the basics and the essentials that are here. All right, so let's do, remember we did knee bumps. Let's do those again. We're trying to develop this habit. So we're gonna just, you know, like do whatever you want with your hands. For me, somehow my hands go up when I'm like bumping my knees down. Remember that those knees go in the direction of your toes. They're not going past your toes. And I want you to check that you're not somehow on the balls of your feet when you're doing this. You are right on your whole foot. As long as that's comfortable for you, do that. If you have a limitation and you can't do that, do whatever is how you would normally do it. Okay? Now, I want us to shift a little bit so we can get that weight more in our heel on this side, less weight and more of it in the heel on this side. And then I want you, remember, we swung out that hip on this side. We swung out that hip on this side, pivoting, remember that? And then I want us to bring our weight back at least to the center and then bump our knees, taking note that our knees are going still in the directions of our toes, right? So we're bumping and coming back and bumping and back and bumping and back and bumping and back. Going to do this on the other side, shifting our weight a little, getting it into the heel here, turning our hip, our whole hip out and bumping and coming up and turning back this time, right? So bump. I want you to just glance down, make sure that this knee is not going, this knee over here is not wandering inside. You're feeling maybe a little stretch here when you do that, but you're letting the hips turn, but you're not turning this part of this hip at all. Instead, you're opening here. Great. And on the other side, 2, 3, 4. Come over to this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an exercise that you can do. All right. Knee bumps, is that working for you? You okay? All right, good. All right. Now we're going to take it a new step, a new level. We are going to shift our weight over here a little bit, over to this side, do the same thing, turn out this hip, and then go stand on it and bring this foot in This time we're bringing it in and we're just gonna like point with the heel. Just point with the heel and bring it back. This is tricky. You guys are doing a great job. Point with the heel and bring it back. If you have, tight hamstring, tight Achilles tendon, you might not get as far, but you're going out on the diagonal. And then you're going to come back and turn in. And we're going to do it on the other side. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. And we're going to bring this over here and stand. Lift this foot up, extend it out. It's going to be out where your railroad tracks would be. So look to make sure if you had railroad tracks like I have right here, that you could do that. It's not coming out right in front of you. It's coming out over here. But it's only going, see, I'm not putting any weight on it, but I am hitting it. This is another exercise you can do. Great for balance, not easy. Now here's a tendency that some of us I can see have. We're doing this. At first essential. Suspend yourself. All right. If you're doing this, right. Veronica, I love it. Right, you're gonna feel it right here. So give yourself a rest, come back. These are more things you can do this week when you're drinking your favorite beverage, right? Okay, we're gonna come over here and we're gonna come over here now, turning out that whole hip. We're gonna go sort of stand in this corner, pick up this foot a little bit, and then we're gonna put that foot out, however far, just however far it goes. If you're bent more here, you'll be putting it out further. If you're bent just a tiny bit in your knee, then it'll just go a little ways. How far it goes doesn't matter. All right. Now we're going to do it, and we're going to actually take the step. So we're going to shift over here, turn the hip out, just the one hip, and knee bump and move over. We're going to stand, relieve the weight here, step out. I want you to now feel like there's a magnet, that sticky planet. The sticky planet has now grabbed your heel. I want you to push with the back foot, and as you do, you're keeping this leg pretty straight, soft straight, but your foot is going to just go straight down. And then your knee's going to bend as the back leg straightens. Let's try that again. We'll do it on the other side. We're going to shift a little over here, turn the hip out, come over, keep ourselves hooked up. You're doing much better, guys. Release this foot out and hook up. There it went. There that foot went, sticky planet. Push with the back foot, absorb with the front foot, knees in line with toes, and make sure now that you finish turning your hips. Both hips are going to be open and turned to the corner now. You should feel like your feet are flat on the ground, and both feet, this one is bent. Both have weight on them. The front one has about 60% of your weight, and the back one about 40% of your weight. We feeling that? Okay. Over here, out here, coming over, freeing up this foot, stepping out, push, push, hip turn, knee bump. Let's look at it from the side. So if everybody can put your shoulder to me and look in this direction, we're going to shift to our left, turn out our right foot, and when we do, we're turning that whole hip. That hip is now turned to the corner, but the rest of us isn't yet. We're bumping down, releasing this foot, unfolding it, pushing, foot goes straight, absorbing with the other foot. Your head is still attached, and you are not facing the side of the side in terms of your upper body. Your upper body, I want right now in line with your hips. Okay, and your hips should be they should be to the corner. If you've had headlights on your hips, they'd be to the corner. So we're going to try this again, going the other direction. So we're going to shift to the right, turn the left hip out, get that left knee and leg pointed to the corner, stand on it, free up that other foot, unfold that other foot out so that it's at a distance. It gets glommed onto the sticky planet, push with the back foot, and I want your hips turning to the corner as you go forward and bend that knee. All right. How's that feeling? Let's put a few together. Okay? So let's come back. So get at a distance a little bit. Just want to see what time it is. Get a distance a little bit from your camera. Great. Fabulous. We're going to shift over to this side. Turn out this way, that hips in that direction. Come down, foot out, gloms on. Push those feet, glom on. The front one absorbs, the back one pushes. Now I want you to keep pushing with the back foot and come to stand on that front foot. Stand on that front foot and put it back in parallel. Just put it back in parallel. Now we're going to come over, out, knee bump, lift, open, take that step, glom on, push, absorb, make sure you finish that turn side of the room. You can turn your head, but I want your shoulders right now to the side of the room. Let's come back and do it again. Over here, out, sink, weights fully on this side, open, glomming on, push, heel, ball, toe with the front foot, bend knee. Peel off that back foot as you finish transferring your weight and bring that foot up. Coming over here, out, turning those hips, make sure your knees are going in the correct direction. Move over. Remember, hips to the corner. Step out. Oh, magnetic planet. Pulls first your heel, then your ball of your foot. your knee is following in that direction and your hips finish turning and you bend your knee. When I talk about knee, heel, ball, toe, it goes heel, heel edge, there's not much weight. But as we start shifting weight, it goes heel, ball, toe, that whole foot is on the floor. Then you bend your knee. Okay? So we're going to do it one more time, real quick. Shifting over here, turning over here, bending, unfolding, heel, ball, toe, bend knee. Questions? All right, we're going to come back to this, but now you need your chair. So some of you have been in this class before and know about this. I want a chair. I want you not slumping in your chair. I don't think anybody is. I want you sitting kind of towards the end of the chair, but I want to make sure that your whole butt is on the chair. You are firmly on that chair. You got it? Yep. Okay. Now, I want you can't move your hips easily anyway, right? I mean, you could kind of wiggle them, but you can't turn them really. They're stuck because you're sitting on them. They are part of your base right now, right? They're part of your base. They're just locked in. When you're in a bow step in that arch, there are times when you want that base locked in. You want to be able to move your upper body and not your base, because your base is like your arch. It's giving you stability when you need to do something. So what I want you to do now is figure out, like, we can turn our head, right? We didn't do this earlier, but we can turn our head. And we can turn our head without moving our shoulders. Well, how about our shoulders? Can we turn our shoulders without moving our bottom? Yeah, great. I want you to just gently twist those shoulders and get a sense for how far you can move the shoulders when your hips aren't moving at all. They're just relaxed down. And stop, keep your nose like in front of your breastbone and get a sense for how far just your shoulders. Like, I want you to kind of keep this part of you right here. I don't think I was doing that earlier. Just your shoulders. Like, how far can your shoulders go? I go about here. It's like, I don't know, like 1 point, but not like a southeast or a northeast. Get a feel for that. Now, I want you to instead keep your shoulders the way, just like straighten your torso. And I want you to imagine you have, Kelly does this and I love it. Imagine you have something coming out of your belly button that you can draw with, like a marker. And I want you to draw with that marker, but you're not going to move your shoulders. How far does it go? It probably goes a little ways, but not super far, unless you're like really, really flexible. But get a sense for what you can do. And notice that you can do that without moving your butt. You may notice the weight shifting a little bit. Now, I want you to try doing, no pushing with your legs at this point. I want you to try doing it here first and kind of finishing it with your shoulders and see how far you can get. Okay, so we're gonna turn here and then sort of let our shoulders go a little further. You may find you've gotten further. Come back, try the other side. This is your way of exploring how much flexibility you have. And it's very good for your back. Again, the first principle of being kind of suspended from the clouds. This is really, really important. All right. Now, here's an experiment. I want you to push with this leg while we turn in this direction. I want to do it the same way. Turn from your belly first, and then gradually let your shoulders finish the turn, okay? Pushing, powering the turn from pushing in your foot, all right? This foot, this direction. Ready, go. Come back. Did you go further? Yes, interesting. Your hips were staying where they were though, weren't they? Let's try it on the other side. We're going to push with this foot and we're going to turn this way. Push, turn, belly goes first, then the shoulders. Oh my gosh, I'm more flexible on this side. Now you might like me be actually cheating with your head. So don't let your head go too far and come back. I just realized, oh, and my head goes a little further too. No, no. All right. So what I want you to notice here are two things. Number one, that we can do this. We can turn separately. Number two, with three things, how much flexibility you have. Because everybody has a different amount. And that if you're in the proper position, which you are when you're sitting, remember I tell you, pretend you're sitting in a chair to lengthen your back. You actually can go further. So now we're going to apply this. Oh, wait, I want you to stay here for a minute. I want you to imagine, can you hear me? Good, 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 good. Because I just adjusted my headphones. There we go. Okay, it was me. All right. So I want you to actually make one of your hug-a-tree shapes here for the moment. And I want you to imagine you are a puppet. And the puppeteer can control how much you push with your feet. And the puppeteer can also control how you move an arm. And, you know, pick a point, but I like to sort of think this right here is being pulled, you know, like maybe with a stick or something or whatever. It's one of those Chinese puppets in here, but just get a feel like being a puppet, right? So we could, our puppeteer could do this for us, right? Just kind of turn that whole arm. Nice. And this. But this is an interesting puppeteer. He has locked the turning of our arms. He's going to lock it, make sure you don't get tired here. He's going to lock the turning of our arms with the turning of our body. So first, he's only gets like kind of playing two notes at once on a piano or an organ. He's just going to play these notes. So let's do that. Let's do this one. Just this. And I just want you to almost go out like you're pushing a button. So all you're doing is rotating this arm. That's all that's happening. You're not moving it out to the corner or anything like that. You're rotating this arm. Nice. All right. It's not a wrist move. We call this a Queen's wave. Okay. Now I want just let that happen. And at the same time, they're going to turn your body this way. Okay? The two are going to go together and they're going to end at the same time. So puppeteer turns my body and the wave goes. And then puppeteer brings me back. Then puppeteer adds a third key to the puppets and pushes it. And now this leg is going to push. Puppeteer, all at the same time. And back. One more time, all at the same time. And back. Puppets are good because you're relaxed. Other side, we're going to just practice this. Puppeteer does it. That's his first stick or whatever. Now they're locked together with this one. You'll notice things go a little further. You're not bringing your arm more towards the corner. It's just going there because your body turned. In complete coordination the same time. This time, puppeteer adds the third key. You're going to push this leg as you turn out. All right, up. Here we are. Back and prepare. Hooking ourselves up, hooking ourselves down, thinking about sitting down to help soften those knees and like we were in that chair. Like we were in that chair. In fact, if you want to stay down a little bit, that might help you with this. You'll be able to turn further if you're sitting. Believe it. If you're sitting a little, if you're kind of bent a little bit. All right, we're going to do this again. Put your arms up. Key number 1, puppeteer. Just a couple times. 2 keys, just this one and this one. You're turning that way. No legs. How far do you go? Synchronize them. Now 3 keys. Push with the leg on the other side. Let yourself be a puppeteer. Do not turn your hips. Hips stay where they are. All right? And on the other side, 1, do it twice. It just sort of goes out to push a button. 2, remember it's just your upper body that turns and turns back. You aren't moving anything. And it turns out that you can't move that hand without the puppeteer, and the puppeteer is moving both at the same time. Now you're pushing with the other leg and turning all at the same time. You should feel that you're going further and coming back. And there again, and coming back. Excellent. Now, the next time we warm up a different way and we do something like this, I don't want to see those hips moving. You see how my hips are just staying right where they are? I could knee bump all I want to in this direction. Well, it's hard while you're turning it. But you see that? So we want that. And in Tai Chi, all the time, we will be making these coordinations. So we're just going to get a taste of this today. This is like an introduction to next week. Next week, we're going to be throwing balls. We're going to be doing all sorts of interesting things. And we're going to be looking at this waist turn and how it coordinates. But for right now, I want to take us right back here to what we did earlier. We're going to shift our weight over. We're going to turn our hips to the corner, our hip to the corner, this hip, this whole hip, and knee bump Then we're going to shift that weight over, freeing up this foot, take a step out, and then heel, ball, toe, and we're turning our hips as we do, and the hips are and the whole body was to the corner, right? When we bend our knee. Now I want to do the exact same thing again on this side. This is a preview of next week. We're gonna come over, go out, shift our weight, sit, unfold. Now, on the heel, ball, toe part, before you bend this knee, I want you to the corner. And as you give that last push, a powerful push with your back foot, I want only the top of you to turn. So your hips are still at the corner, but the top of you turns. We'll do that on the other side. Over here, out, hips to the side, down, unfold, hips to the corner, heel, ball, toe, top of you gets to look straight. Look back, make sure you're in your arch. We'll get lots more practice with this. So next week, we're going to start learning the first, well, we have learned to prepare. This is a move in Tai Chi. We have learned opening. It's done two ways. It's done the way we did it today, going down, as well as not going down. So we've now done it both ways. And now we're going to learn another move, which is this beautiful move, brush knee and push. It has a bow step down here, and it has these lovely body turns that are controlling our arms. So we'll get to that next week. Any questions? Oh, come on, I'm feeling like, how about comments? We need to end class pretty soon. Yeah, Veronica.
Well, I noticed that, I've not been opening up my left leg at all until I started doing this. And it hurts. Until I do it right. And then, because I'm tending to put my knee in.
It hurts unless you do it right.
Yeah.
It's so true.
My habit is my problem.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate and interesting that your body is giving you that feedback. Arches are so great. Arches are so great, but this is not an arch. And this poor knee is hanging out with nothing underneath it. All it's got to hold it up is the tendons and the ligaments and the cartilage and all that stuff. So yeah, when we talk about opening here and keeping these knees bumping in the right place, it is for your protection. And when we talk about the 70% rule, that's for your protection too. So if you're getting sore doing something for Tai Chi that I'm asking you to do, back off and do a little less of it, right? Don't overdo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Molly.
Yeah, I had a question in terms of sort of the Pilates feeling of like zipping up a tight pair of jeans. Is that sort of what we're going for, of like rotating inward and internally when we're, or
so zipping up here? Is that
sort of pull to core that you do in like Pilates and stuff like that, or is that too aggressive for?
It is because we want this area relaxed.
Okay.
Believe it or not. we want this area relaxed. And the reason we want it relaxed is because we're going to be doing, because in the martial art, and we'll be looking at this next week, we do things where we, not that I'm going to be teaching this part, but where we have to very quickly transmit energy. And it has to be, and it's directed, believe it or not, by our middle body. We were getting that idea today, right? The force comes from your maybe your back leg today, and then you got to turn forward. If you are tight in here, you can't transmit the energy in the same way. However, the position you get into when you tighten there is, if you don't over tighten, is probably close to the position we're looking for. We're looking for your tailbone to be down, pointed down. We don't want it pointed in, and we don't want it pointed this way. We want it pointed down. So it's the best advice. And I don't know Pilates, so I can't tell you this. But when people say, it's all right. I mean, I'm happy to learn more. When people say, you know, having a strong core, and it's, you need strong muscles, but we want to use those muscles at the moment they're needed and not just to be in the right position. So we're going for structural things, that investing our muscle strength in these structural things at the bottom, keeping everything else light and loose so we're ready for action.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate it.
Okay. Maria.
I just want to get the numbers right with the 60-40 that you say. I don't want to confuse that with the 70-30. So I want this as a takeaway. Where is the 60? Is in the foot, the leg that you.
It's in the leg that's bent.
That's bent. All right.
And usually that's the front leg.
Okay.
Yep, it's the leg that's bent that ends up being 60-40. And a lot of people end up with one of their legs really light. And you want to feel your whole foot, to the extent that that is something you ever do. I know there are people whose feet won't have their whole foot on the ground, but you want to feel your whole foot on the ground, and 60 on one and 40 on the other. 60 is the one with the bent foot. That's when it goes 60. You know, it's here, and then it's there. As this straightens, because this is, you go heel, ball, toe, and then as this one straightens, this is 40, and this is 60. This one here, where it's bent, and this one is 40. And you can see more of my weight is here. If I were back here, it would be different, right? It would be more that this was 60 and this one was 40.
So it becomes 60 when it's heel, ball, toe, then it's 60.
When you bend your knee. So so when I'm here, there's almost nothing. I don't know how much you can see here. When it's here, there's almost nothing on it. I mean, there's a little. I mean, the weight of my leg, but not the weight of my body is there, right? I put it down, and then I root it, and I start to move forward, and I roll more of my weight on it. And yes, my leg is bending a little, but I have this tension between my legs. And then there's this moment when I really shoot the energy into it. And we do that very smoothly in the form, but when you're done, this one will have more weight. You'll also see that we'll talk about this later too. There's, most of the time, there'll be a straight line from the top of your head down to your heel.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Fabulous work today, guys. Really good work. This is hard stuff. So, well done. All right, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.